Well, he gets signed to Def Jam, and he drops the album Paranoia.
Yeah.
It peaks at number 9 on the Billboard 200. What ultimately happened with that relationship?
I mean, by the time Paranoia came out, I was like, we weren't working together anymore.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, we was having our differences. You know what I mean? Like, we was having our differences because it was like, you know, it just was certain things that I just didn't want to be around. Like, at that time, Dave had a lot of homies. You know what I mean? He went through what every rapper go through. You know what I mean? You got 100 people. It was 4 people. Then it's 10 people. Then it's 20 people. Then it's more people than you could count. We had a situation one time where I got frustrated. I kicked everybody out the studio because we really needed to focus on making this project, and we just was having differences, man. It was this one situation. It's funny because I mean, Dave don't talk about nothing with me. You know what I'm saying? And I respect it, but it's still a story, and it's still our story. You feel me? It's like I can't tell my story even to how I'm here today without him being a chapter, and vice versa. But it was one point where we was working on Paranoia. We was spending a lot of money in the studio. And for me, doing management, I had a tendency to kind of A&R my artists when I managed them. So it's like, I'm not only managing you, I might help you get a feature, or I might come to the table with an idea for a record. So I had gave him a couple of ideas for some records and shit, and he went to the studio. And then when I came to the studio, I got there, and it was a party. It's a bunch of people. They not doing nothing. They just around, and none of these people were a part of like the core 10 that's together when we're on the road. Like, it's different than the people that's at his house, that's around him, and when we on the road, I kicked everybody out. I said everybody. Like, I told everybody get out. And then he was recording or something. I went off on a lot of his friends because I'm telling them, like, yo, y'all just let him do anything. Like, y'all let him do whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know if that might have bothered Dave. It was another time where because I started my management company and I was turning it into a label, I had other artists, but I had called a meeting between all the producers I have, the artists I have, and it was for everybody to have a conversation like, yo, listen, Dave is on, like, I got Dave, he's doing this, but I wanted everybody to come together to say, well, listen, y'all seen what we just did with his deal, y'all need to get on y'all shit so we could get y'all some deals. And Dave had found out I was having this meeting. So when he found out I was having a meeting, I didn't invite him because he never used to come to places on time. So I didn't want to be waiting for the meeting to start and he's not there. So I'm like, you know what, he could fall back from this because he was going to be my partner in my label. He ends up coming to the studio. He sits down and he's upset that I didn't bring him to the meeting. But the meeting wasn't even about him. The meeting was for everybody to get their shit together. But I didn't see no reason for him to be here, you know? And it was nothing to slight him or nothing, but he was upset about that. He was really upset about that. So we started having these differences, you know what I mean? We started having these differences, and ultimately it led to him firing me. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I remember there was multiple interviews that were confirmed between Dave East and VladTV, and they would always get canceled at the last minute. Were you around him when these interviews were being scheduled?
Nah. I wasn't, at this time, I wasn't around. I remember, like, me and you had a conversation about it happening, but it was like, we had I forgot how we got connected, but me and you, we talked on the phone, and we would talk, but this was way before Paranoia had came out. You know what I mean? This was like after the XXL Freshman, before we even had signed the deal, because at that time, I ain't gonna lie, he was on fire, you know what I mean? But we had talked one time, but then it just never came back up. But I never was a part of like putting nothing together. But that was the thing. It was like, you know, because we were so, people had watched us over the past 3 years of us always together, it was confusing for a lot of people because they didn't know who was the man, who to talk to. So while things was going on, people would still hit me, but I'm not answering because I'm not answering for my own reasons. But I wasn't, once we split, it was that we never worked together again.
Yeah, look, I had, I think, 3 interviews scheduled, and I was working with this one PR person named Rose, who, you know who that is, right?
Yeah, I believe I know who she is, but I never worked with her, but I know who she is. I think I spoke to her a couple times.
Right. So I'd worked with her from back in the G Unit days, and she had scheduled other stuff for me, but every time we came to the Dave East interview, it's like the day of, oh, sorry, he can't make it. Oh, we're gonna have to cancel for now. It never got rescheduled. And it was always done in a really nasty way. It was like the day of or like right before. And the thing is, that really messes up our schedule, makes us lose money and everything else like that. So at one point, I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not scheduling any more of these interviews. I don't know if he has a personal issue with me or what it is, but this is wasting my time and money. And I remember I had Wayno on my show because me and him go way back since before VladTV, right? And they have a podcast together, you know, with Jim Jones also. And I mentioned, he goes, well, you know, maybe he didn't know about it. You guys should talk, whatever.
I don't speak for no man, but that don't mean a person don't like you just because they canceled. That could mean he was late for something else. He had too many things. He was overbooked, or he managed time bad. I don't know. That
4
don't mean he
times?
don't like.
4 times. And he reached out to me and we had this long DM conversation. He's like, I've never booked an interview that I've known about, you know, I've never agreed to it and so forth. And I'm like, well, what about Rose? Oh, she's not my publicist. You know, I would never cancel on you, whatever. So I remember when I reached out to her to talk about it, she's literally naming, yes, and at this point it was scheduled that his homies talked him out of it. You know, they're like, oh, he the feds, don't do it. And then at this point, we were going to do it, but then once again, he changed his mind and started flip-flopping, whatever. And when I came back to him with that, he was like, oh, well, why don't y'all do an interview together? And I'm like, man. I said, I'm so done with you.
That sounds like something you would say.
Yeah. I said, I'm so done with you right now. Like, just admit that you canceled on me.
Yeah.
Right? Just admit that you had people in your ear and you were not professional enough to deal with it the way a man is supposed to deal with it. Just say that, because we've all had people influence us to do the wrong shit. But he's like, no, I ain't gonna admit to nothing. I'm like, man, forget it. I'm done. I'm just gonna keep talking about it. And this is gonna turn into more content for me because you can't keep it 100. And you told me, because we talked offline, you said that he will never actually do an interview with me because I'll expose too much stuff in terms of his story.
I just don't know if he's ready. You know, I don't know. See, remember when you said that question, you asked me a question about guns and shit? Like, I don't even know how you even got that. You feel me? So it's like, I don't know what you would know where you might ask him something that he just not ready for. You feel me? Like, that's what it is. Like, he just might not be ready for a conversation with you.
Well, Dave East, you're right. At one point, he was on fire. He was on the freshman cover. The Nas cosign was big. The album did pretty well, and you know, Paranoia. But overall, he never really grew to be a major artist, I feel. But why do you think that is?
I mean, I don't know, bro. Like, for myself, once I was eliminated out of the equation, I'm not saying that, like, it's because if I would have still been there, like, I can't even tell you what happened or what if I was still there or not. I don't know. I mean, my vision for Dave, was for him to be a superstar. You know what I mean? I understood his look. I understood his skill set. I understood that, you know, when he came into the game, he had already been putting out mixtapes, but when he came into the game, you know, people was respecting him for hearing a new rapper that could rap, right? But I also knew that we needed to work on records. We didn't have records. Like, my man Orlando, he always said, I don't understand how you made him the face of New York without a record. And that's because I started to learn branding from Mass Appeal, and I knew what branding was, but once I got around them guys, because keep in mind, like, Anthony Saleh is Nas's partner. You know, he manages Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? So we was just in a wheelhouse of some other shit. So the stuff that I was talking with Mass Appeal about, and then by the time we got to Def Jam, it was about, like, taking it there. And I don't know why, you know, things didn't go to the next level for him. You know what I mean? He got into acting. That was something that we talked about. But ultimately, it's one thing I realized about, like, doing management and all that is, like, it's like me having a business manager. I could tell my business manager I'm about to spend some money, and she'd be like, well, it's your money. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, no matter what, it's your career. Like, I could tell you all of the visions and everything I have for you, but end of the day, you could do what you want to do. And the thing with East is that me and him we're in a all right place. Like, we don't speak all the time, but when we speak, it's love. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have the friction that we might have had at one point in time. Like, we cool, but at the same time, it's like, I wished a lot more things would have happened for him because I believed in him. And you know what I mean? Like, his first big check was my first big check. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was doing this shit together. So, I thought it was going to go a certain way, but that's just not how life goes, especially in this music shit.